Okay, so we're gonna do introductions.
I'm Grady Masterson. I'm with AIGT. My current project that I work with is Mercedes, and I've been affiliated with them for about 4 years now. We came over from Honda project over in Lincoln, automotive welding and machining and various technologies.
Donnell Perry, instructor at Lawson State Community College, AUT.
Floyd Sanders, MET division. I teach here at Lawson. I teach mostly the electrical classes.
Marty Shriver, CMC Steel, maintenance manager.
Nicole DeVoe, CMC Steel, Acreman. Shelley Wallace, Plastic Pack Packaging, Human Resources.
I'm Reese Raymond. I teach in the MET division here at the college, and I teach all kinds of courses, mainly electronics and robotics, but I teach a little of everything.
And I'm Nancy Wilson. I'm chair of the manufacturing engineering department and also assistant dean of career tech. So, and I don't teach any classes anymore. Okay, Donnell, you want to hit the minutes?
Yes. The minutes, you should find the second page. Because we have a lot to cover, everybody gonna read the minutes for themselves. So we'll take a few minutes so you can read the minutes. Okay, are there any corrections? I'm just kidding.
I think we need to make that a lowercase t.
How much were the fees for the testing?
For the mechatronics,
Yeah. Fees.
it's $150 a test. And we still don't have permission to do that yet. Yeah, so for the first one, I have to pay for it out of their own pocket if they decide to take it.
I understand what you're saying.
I'll make sure that's back in there this time, so
Fee.
the fees.
Well, we're looking at Radius Fund Shop and charge the students $30 fee.
It's in there. We talked about it in August.
And then that way they'll pay. And then they'll pay for it the first time, and if they have to take it the second time.
Are there any corrections? Does everybody have?
I see one correction. Mechatronics shouldn't have a capital T.
I see that in that last paragraph. Yeah.
That's probably my fault from typing that.
Sorry.
Are there any more corrections? If there are no corrections, the minutes are, yes.
One correction. So
One correction.
I'll make a motion that we accept these with the one correction.
I'll second.
Okay, where's mine?
You're up. All right. The two mission statements are
Not
there.
two.
Huh?
Not just two.
On the back. That's all.
Yeah, technically it's, well, I'm sorry, 2 on the front for the college and then the 5 on the back for the departments. Does anyone see any suggestion or,
Guys, these haven't changed in
yeah,
several years and we just usually just accept them, so.
I guess it'd have to go to cabinet or somebody anyway.
It
right?
would, but we
So,
would take their
right.
suggestions to cabinet. We've done that before. And they made changes
Yeah.
too.
Mhm.
So if they're
can't remember exactly about local or something like that.
It was something on local, and then we had one time they didn't have anything about preparing students for employment. And so we went back, had that added.
It's just a lot of people in our service area.
Now, should we technically make it ILE now on the electrical?
Yeah, we should.
Okay.
So we have the one correction.
Just as an internal thing, we've made the ILE electrical, we now call ILT electrical, was confusing for some
Oh, yeah.
with the ILT. We had it,
It was confusing for us.
well, yes, particularly when they pull up the wrong degree plan. Formerly, we had ILT electrical track or electronic track, and now that was too similar, caused a lot of confusion. So now it's ILE, which is the same thing. The only difference is we've changed the T to A. So that's the only thing I'll move we accept as corrected.
Okay. All right. Okay, so this is going to be our biggest area right here is curriculum. We're all going to work on this for you. I'm going to tell you what you have in your packet so we can kind of just get through it. But this is the existing curriculum from 15, 16.
Another copy.
Oh, well, she may have to have my. No, that's okay. Yeah, we're supposed to have 8 copies. I don't know why we don't. Okay. Oh, it's buried right here. Here, I'll give you the good copy. I'll take it my road. Okay, so the first one is the current catalog that we're working under right now. We have been told by actually the State Department and many others that we needed everything we wanted to change in our advisory committee minutes. So if we do come up with something that we need to change that y'all have not approved, we may send you an email that'll just have a click box whether you approve or disapprove, okay? So we'll try not to do that too often because I know your time is valuable, but just in case we need to. The blue sheet is ILT, and I don't know why I left the words off of there, but this is Industrial Electronics Short that we need to talk about. It's what we're proposing for the new one. Then we have the manufacturing, the AUT short. One of them is going to be the mechatronics certificate. And then we have the degree for that program as well because we're going to make some changes to it. And actually, we probably should have printed out the ILT degree, but the same change will be in AUT and ILT. So, Rich, you want to talk about the ILT first?
Right. What we've done in the ILT, of course, one thing we've done is we've problem was having with the electrical short is we had one ILT short, and what they were doing is they were listing both the electives for the electronics and the electives for the electrical, and it was getting very, very confusing. So that's why we went to the ILT, but it's still under the industrial electronics umbrella. Another thing that if you look at the catalog, what we've done is for our C certification, is what we're trying to do is we're trying to allow the students to get what we call a level 1 certification, which is basically a short certificate certification in the Siemens, but we wanted to make it available in both of the AUT and the ILT degrees. So what we did is, if you look at the catalog, you'll notice it should be this. So this is the catalog that we have right now.
only look at the ILT short. We put the ILT short first. So,
So this is currently the ILT short, and you can see how confusing it was. So the way it was is that everybody took orientation, and then they could either take this track or this track. And what was happening when we ran their degree plan, everything was listed, and the students would get very, very confused, and we'd even get very, very confused. So what we did is we came over and made the ILE, and we moved the electrical courses, which would be the blueprint reading. This is not even those. The residential wiring, the commercial wiring, we moved that into the ILE. They still take DC and AC and intro to engineering, but now the electrical courses are in their own certificate, and now the students don't have any problem with figuring out what courses they need to take. And then we have a standalone electronics, which they would could take these classes.
the next one is the electronics.
That was the one that was totally confusing.
Keep going. It's the last page 5. Last page. There you go. This is industrial electronics.
Now this is the industrial electronics associates degree.
I'm coming on the other side.
Oh,
That's
right,
the
I'm
short.
sorry. So this is the industrial electronics short certificate that we're offering now, where they take 5 core classes. So everybody in the program takes these 5, and then we're going to move down, and then they choose 12 credit hours. What we're looking at is we took blueprint reading out of the core for the industrial electronics associate's degree because it's no longer required by the state. And we moved it down into the electives in the associate's degree. So what we're asking today is that if we can go ahead and get, if y'all agree with us, is take the blueprint reading out of the core for the short certificate and then move it into one of the elective classes. So what it will do is it'll give them 15 credit hours worth of electives they can take. And up here, we're not going to add anything up here as far as I know. And it'll still be 27 credit hours, but all we're trying to do is align the core of the certificate with the core of the degree. Does that make sense? So what we want them to be able to do is if they complete the core for the degree, they can go ahead and get a short certificate also. So basically, if they work it right, then they can end up with 3 awards from the college. They could get a short certificate in industrial electronics. They could get a long certificate in industrial electronics, which is about 54 credit hours, and then they could also give them a degree. So basically, it'll give them 3 exit points, and they can get an award. So what happens sometimes is we get a student that gets a job, and they leave without even an award because they haven't met the courses for the degree. And the problem we're having here is we got blueprint reading in the core. It's not in the core for electronics, but it's in the core for the certificate. So that's all we're asking, is that we can just move that one class from the core.
From the required to the
Yeah,
to
we
the
call it
options.
core, I'm sorry,
That's
yeah.
all we want to do.
So there's not a minimum required semester hours for the core course?
Not in a short. Not in the short. The whole thing has to be 28 hours or less.
Or less, yeah.
I think it's 9 to 28 hours, something like that. But there's no requirement for a core at all in a short. So we used to have, years ago, we had like digital and some of the courses down here up there, and realized it was taking too long to get the students out. And so by the time they had the digital, they were ready for their degree.
Those are the number
Well-
of times we offer that.
So they had no exit point before that. So that's what we're trying to make this, is just kind of a exit point before they get there. So in case somebody gets a job and they decide, well, I'm not coming back next semester, then we have a way to count them because they've earned something.
Now, blueprint stays as an elective for the ILE, correct? just like it is.
But, yes, but this is already, this is just, we're wanting to leave this in there as an elective in the ILT also. It's just going as an elective, not a required.
So, yeah, we're not getting rid of the course. It's a good course, but it's not necessarily required for everybody. What we do at Blueprint Reading, even though blueprints are not around anymore, this is where we teach them not only the symbols for their trade, but we also teach them the symbols for HVAC, welding, hydraulics, pneumatic, or fluid power. So what it does is it gives them a well-versed when they get out there and start reading those prints. They can read more than just, electrical, electronic prints. So it's a
I
good
move
class.
that we move.
Thank you.
We okay? Everybody okay in agreement?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright.
So let the minutes show that everybody was in agreement. So moving AUT 104, out of the core classes or the required courses down into the electives. Another thing that we realized is Siemens certification is a system level troubleshooting. So our troubleshooting class over here in the degree, so here it is right here, ILT 195. It is a component level troubleshooting. And what we've realized is that there's not hardly any people in our service area doing component level troubleshooting. What we're doing is system level troubleshooting. So if the PLC breaks, you don't tear the PLC up, you replace the PLC. So Siemens certification is a system level troubleshooting where they learn how everything works, how the sensors are, how they come into play and how they do that, how to calibrate sensors and stuff like that. But we don't really teach the inside of the sensors anymore. So we're doing what we call a system level troubleshooting. So what we're doing to align this with the Siemens certification is what we're doing, and this is AUT 208. So
You
this
should
is
have a,
this is what we call a POI, which is, these are state-approved courses. And what they do is they basically give us just about everything we need for the minimum requirements for the course. We can add stuff to it, but we can't take it away from what the state approves. And what that means is any other two-year colleges in the state of Alabama that's teaching AUT 208, they meet these guidelines, and we can accept their credit or they can accept ours. What we're doing to move us toward a system level trouble, and so the ILT 195 is transistor circuits, it's op amp circuits and stuff like that, which do y'all do that out there? And that's what we're talking. Y'all do system level troubleshooting. What you're trying to do is get that system up and running as fast as you possibly can. So you might swap a board out, but then you still don't really repair the board, because now usually these boards don't cost near as much as the line being down for a couple of hours. So the AUT 208 more aligns with that technique of a system level troubleshooting. It starts off with safety, where we talk about 70E and also the OSHA 1910, if y'all are familiar with those safety standards. Then we come out and then we move into system level, and they do these guys over here. So we literally start them out on the lines, we tear the lines apart, we put them back together, we put problems in them, they figure out how everything works, they learn how to read step charts and function charts, and actually make them develop those charts, those troubleshooting charts of the IOs and everything for the PLCs, and how to go in and basically fix the system, and that's what we're trying to do now. So system level troubleshooting. So what we're trying to do and get approval from our advisory committee meeting is what we're going to do is we're going to drop the ILT 195 course out of the core. It's just troubleshooting, and we want to replace it with the AUT 208. And you can look through that course. It's a really good system level troubleshooting course if y'all have time to look through the POI on that. I know there's a lot of information in here. And these POIs has really helped us as far as setting up courses now. And we know we set up a course that's recognized by the state. So it tells us what we need to teach. It tells us the minimum requirements, what things we need to do in that course. And so this is what we're looking at. And we'd like to do it. We're going to start teaching the course in the fall. The spring, but we're still going to have to call it ILT 195 because of the catalog amendments right But when the new catalog goes out, this is the course we want to go to right here. And you can look it over and see it's a really good course.
We're probably gonna teach it this way.
Who wrote the objectives?
What they do
State
is,
Department.
yeah, well, what they do is they get a list of instructors, and so I've been on a couple of committees myself, and then we decide what we want in the course, and plus we have industry input too.
I'm just curious why they have a lot of discuss, explain, and describe instead of action, like do, you know.
Well, I think the problem is, and we don't have to do it that way because we're going to be doing. But a lot of the schools out there that's probably teaching this don't have the money to buy what we've been lucky to buy out here. So we have
Lucky.
a lot of work. Nancy's put in a lot of work on this. But, she's really great at writing grants.
So you're not held to these objectives?
Well, we are as long, if the students can explain it, if they've done it, they can explain it. And so we can go past what this says, we just have to do at least what this
That's
says. So yeah, in a way, we are held to it, but not at the same, and if you look, I don't know which one were you looking at when you were talking about that? Was it A?
BMC.
Okay. Just look at B. What it is those are learning
Learning
objectives.
objectives, yeah.
Those are not hands-on objectives. The top part is supposed to be the hands-on. So describe how to properly diagnose a malfunction by determining the root cause of a problem. That is the hands-on part, and the rest is what you have to teach to get them to that point. It's the way that's supposed to work. But all of ours will actually be doing it.
And the beauty of it is that we start the classes off on the PLCs, intro to PLC, which is part of the certificate. They'll actually come over here and see the PLCs in action and see what they do. And then they go back and program. So what it does is it gives them the feel of a system instead of going over there and flipping switches and turning on lights. That's the way this sort of
This would be taught on the line.
Yes.
troubleshooting is strictly over here. The other programs you have to bring them over, I think at least twice, right, Nancy? Once to start.
Start and end.
So hydraulics, so fluid power, we do a system. We teach them systems over there on their labs, but we're going to still bring them over here and actually see
Let them see where it works.
it actually working, doing something instead of just moving
A
something.
lot of this is like Lodo and not necessarily doing the repair, but setting up to do the repair safely.
Some of that also, yes.
We have lockout, tag out. We got all these
Right.
locks and everything over there that we teach them that and make sure they understand lockout, tag out. So that system's set up to do all that. All it's really needs.
One real nice thing, we could actually go over and look at it. Why don't we just do that? Let's pause it. Okay, this is the mechatronics on one side and the robotics on the other. Did we give out the legends or not? Because I do have a legend for what is highlighted, but you may or may not have it. But I was telling Rich that we needed to look at maybe getting rid of the red there, the introduction to automotive concepts. Take that out of the short. And for the robotics, not everywhere, just take it out of that one. We probably needed maybe to add sensors and add PLCs. That was some suggestions that I had made. I assume you're okay with those. So if y'all have no objections to that, then we will
Why it's 3D graphics and animation in it?
go ahead, Rich.
We do a course called simulation, where they actually build 3D models and put an animated robot in there. So the people who are interested in that would probably need more 3D than we can teach in one class. So I guess they do a lot of simulation down there.
But it is for the simulation class, and that's why we found that they were just needing more, so we added it.
Yeah, so if that's the route they want to go, if they went for, if they got the opportunity to work for a company that had a lot of robots, and odds are they're going to use a lot of simulation.
Wouldn't that word need to be in there, you think, in the title?
Well, this is
Simulation.
a state approved, this is a state, well, we do have a simulation course, which is this course right here. But the problem is that the 3D modeling that we teach in that class is basically fundamental. I don't have my stick, I can show you what it is. This is a 3D animation class that's taught by the drafting program. So we can't really put a simulation in there, but what it does is gives them more points of doing 3D modeling. If you were in an application,
Yeah. It gives them a little bit of that type AutoCAD and that type stuff to
But
build
3D
those cells.
That's 3D modeling.
Donnell can actually tell you.
We actually use the program, AutoCAD and 3D Studio Max.
But it's really more about building the cell so that everything looks like the manufacturing floor or whatever they're working on, so they can put that robot in there and lay it out. So that's really what that class is more about is that. We explain that, but it's not, but that is actually a drafting course, so it's not designed specifically for the robotic students. But there is a simulation course that's up top. Then the other short certificate, we want to change it from the automated manufacturing, specialty manufacturing, which is on page 3 of this. And we want to make it more towards the mechatronics. Since we have the certification now, we want to make it more towards the mechatronics. One thing we did find out, though, is that we have 28 hours in there. And our mechatronics only came out to 25 hours. And they're telling us, because it has financial aid implications, that we need to make this 28. So we're going to have to add another course in there. But what Rich and I discussed was leaving it as just an elective. From machine tool, from welding, from manufacturing, from electrical, from electronics, from any courses we teach, just let them pick one. And then that way they could get the mechatronics and one other course. Because if they're taking a long or a degree, they're going to be taking something else.
Yeah, I like taking it, choosing, because, I mean, they might want to take a wiring or a draft. I mean, that gives
Right,
them
they
the
might want
freedom.
to take one of the robotics courses. I mean, the robotics is on the line, so they might want to take a robotics course, or they might want to take a electrical course, a wiring course, or something else. So if y'all have no objections, this is what we're going with.
This is our simulation software.
So this is their simulation, so that you know.
So this would be the basic models they learn how to build, and then in the simulation class. But if they were going to go into a company that actually did more of this, then they would need more 3D modeling.
Yeah, they would need the line and everything else and what that's attached to, and so that's why we let them do it.
In simulation, what you do is you actually build your work cell 3D model, and then you place an animated robot into the work cell, and you teach the program here. And then when you get it taught, you take it over there and upload it into the robot, and the robot runs it. So your robot is not out of production while you're writing programs. Another thing you can do is you can go over to the robot and download a program and bring it into your simulation. And your robot's still over there running, and you can modify it on your simulation, and then when you get it where you want it, you can go back and update it. And so your robot is never out of production while you're upgrading your application.
Plus, you can also see if you're going to crash it or whatever.
Yeah, plus we can,
Downtime,
first we can set up what we call collision detection, where we can detect any collisions with a simulated robot. And we tell people it's like playing video games. You know, when you get killed in a video game, you don't really get killed. You know, you collide your torch. You know, you got we were talking to Wade, and he said what some of their courses are like $50,000. You know, and if you collide that thing, and you're supposed to be accurate within a few nanometers, and you collide that thing, then you just messed up with that. So here we can set up collision detection and detect anything that's going to collide or anything like that. And this is what Mercedes does, and he said that when they go from model year to model year, they're down for about 3 weeks to do the conversion, because they've already simulated as much as they possibly can. And then, of course, when they go to the real line, they're going to have to make some modifications, but it's very, very. So this is one of our robotics courses. This is a program called MotoSim, which is for the motor manual. So we got this program over there. We can run this program. It's written on the simulation. Huh?
We gotta go on.
I know. I can
All right. So if we're okay, all right. So everybody approved that. Then the last one is our degree. And again, with the degree, notice that the 208 courses in there, y'all have already approved us to add that. But if you look at the old curriculum, I know I'm making y'all bounce back and forth, I'm sorry. We didn't get, oh, it's over here. If you look at the degree for AUT, which is on page 2, the State Department actually removed AC from the core. So AC is no longer in the core. I'm not saying they don't need it in manufacturing, but because the state moved it out of the core, so did we. We could put it back in the core, but I decided that they probably would do better with the troubleshooting, so we put the troubleshooting up there and took the AC out. And that's really I think that's the only change I made. The other change, I'm sorry, I did make one other change. If you look in the 18 hours of the electives, or the 20, actually I guess now it should be 20. 20 hours of electives, if you notice, I put 2 machine shop classes down there. And that was because a lot of the tier 1 suppliers were wanting them to have some machine shop experience also, along with the manufacturing, just so they'd know how to machine. They would prefer that over the welding and cutting for most of them, so that's why I put it in there as an elective. So those are the 2 changes I made. Marty, I saw your face when I said that about the AC, so if you have an objection.
To me, it's a fundamental class, right?
It basically is, and we didn't take it out of the industrial electronics.
Right.
We just took it out of the manufacturing, and they do get some of the AC in motor controls.
I was going to say that was going to be.
We teach basic AC theory. In fact, we do a little bit of phase shift in there, but not much, just to show them how single-phase motors work. But they don't do all the math and all the trig that's required in the actual AC course, which they probably wouldn't need at your plant anyway. They just need to understand the AC and basic phase shifts and power factors. We do power factors also in motor control.
And that was our reasoning for moving it, because they don't need quite as much, but it is there as an option if they decide if they decide they need it. And most of the students would pick it up anyway, and I think every one of these tier 1 suppliers we've been talking to have wanted AC and the machine shop. It's just I don't know, it was just that the automated manufacturing, the troubleshooting they really needed that troubleshooting. And so I just swapped them over when I saw that the state had removed it from core.
And if you've got anybody that you're sending out, or even the tier 1s, the AC is still there. It's just that it's not in the core, it's in the electives now.
Yeah, and if you sent somebody out here for training, you can tell us, we want to make sure they have AC. Then we make sure we put them in that AC.
Yeah, it's
class.
really the course that they're doing it for.
That's correct.
Is really industry or end users. Is that
That's
correct?
right.
Yeah, most industries don't need, they need to know AC, they need to know the difference between AC and DC, but they don't need to know all the trig, all the math that we teach in the AC class. So our AC class is a in-depth class.
And it's really,
They calculate angles,
it's
phasing.
really designed more for electronics. Okay, is that the last one of our curriculum? I think it is. The only other thing, we've already kind of told you about the mechatronics line, but this is just kind of an overview that we did. We're going to have to make some changes to it, we already know, because like the machine shop class is not in here. So we already know we have some changes to make to it. And when I did this, the short certificate was only 25 hours, not 28, so they'll have to go back up to 28. But those are a few. And it basically just gives an overview about what mechatronics is. And I find that kids pretty much know what mechatronics is. But a lot of the adults and the people that are making the decisions for their kids don't know what mechatronics is. So it sounds more high-tech, and so this is what we decided to go with. And I think the last time I told y'all that was our new logo, did I not? That's our new mechatronics logo. What? Oh, the article. And we actually hosted a workforce development kickoff here a month ago, I guess now, when they kicked off the Alabama Works. And this is an article that was actually in the Birmingham Times, Birmingham Times. And if you notice, Mr. Raymond's on the front page there, or yeah, the front page there. So we laminated it, and we're gonna hang it up in here somewhere. So
Pretty impressive.
yeah. So we have actually gotten a lot of attention out of this. I think I told y'all, but we received a grant from the post-secondary for this. We're getting close to spending it now, but it took us a while. So, but we're really proud of it.
Yeah, we got our own furniture on the line.
Yeah, we borrowed this furniture, but it's the same exact furniture we ordered. And so these are not our chairs; those are our chairs in the box over there.
They're the
Still.
same thing. We really like these, so we ordered some.
But we borrowed these for a little while and realized we really liked them, so when we just ordered all these just like it. So, plus these are in the building, and he has them next door and down the hall in his room. So we'll send these back to him. But if he needs extra tables and chairs, he can borrow ours if he has a big event. So, and they'll all look the same, which we thought was kind of nice.
Tom Behrman, he's over that. He's been really good to us.
Yeah, he's over the automotive
Even
program.
though we did take over this area from him.
Yeah. We did try to design this kind of like a manufacturing floor. That the reason it's lighter color, it's supposed to be a little wider than that, but you know, I got my tile people and they did what they did. But that's supposed to be a walk area, and this is supposed to be the part that's the like the manufacturing floor. That if you're on a tour, you only stay over there. It just didn't quite make it wide enough, but it's still okay. It still gets the point across to the students.
So we're going to run pneumatic tubing down the wall right above the baseboard so they can split it up, and we're getting magnetic whiteboards where when they're working on their unit, they can actually separate it out from each other and they can write all over it and kind of stuff. And, it's really going to be, we're really excited about the program. At least I am. I don't know about the
I am. I'm just not teaching anymore. Kind of talked about budgets and grants. We never have enough money. We'll always take as much as we can get. We probably now have a pretty good setup. We still have a few things we need. Over on Birmingham campus, we have moved Hoyt to a new area. Moving Hoyt to a new area. He has new electrical walls and things now. So we're upgrading the electrical department.
Maybe December next, we can meet over there.
Yeah, we're gonna move our motor trainers over to the Birmingham campus. And we're gonna try to get some more motor control trainers. From this money.
Do y'all still support Jefferson County Schools? I mean, because I know that they're really trying to ramp up their technology.
We try.
I know. So, has anybody reached out to you? Because I know they have that in several schools now.
McAdory did. We went down there and talked to Mr. Humphreys. He's the principal there.
Right.
And he was very interested, but they're more interested in not utilizing what we have, but trying to get stuff to do it there, which is good, you know. And that was a big thing that hurt Alabama in the two-year college system, is when they did away with all the trading schools.
Right.
We used to get a ton of students from those, and now they got away from that and was teaching more business-related classes, and now they're biting the bullet on that. And y'all are biting the bullet too, because you know we're not getting.
I was fixing to say, I'm on the advisory board at Benson. They've added industrial maintenance.
I try to work with Pleasant Grove, but I have a real hard time. That guy at Pleasant Grove, if I
Is he
go
still
out,
there?
I don't know if he's the same. I don't know. I can't tell you. But I've gone out to Pleasant Grove several times trying to help, and I don't know. They got in some new equipment. He doesn't know what to do with it, but he doesn't want to listen for me to explain what he needs to do. You know, what he can do with it.
We
So
offered to donate a bunch of stuff to them, and I never heard anything back. So I just wondered.
I don't know.
I mean, we want to get involved in the high schools.
Yeah, well, we, like I said, we try. When they started the two programs at Pleasant Grove and Pinson, they called me and said, we're doing industrial maintenance at these two schools, and we want your help. Can you tell us what we need to buy? I said, sure. I gave them a list, and they didn't buy any of it. So, I mean, I don't.
Columbiana.
Yeah, then I worked with Columbiana, Shelby County also, the Columbiana Career Center, and we actually had a partnership with them. Donnell went out there and taught for the first year alongside their instructor to try to get them up to speed on what they need to do. That instructor retired after the same year Donnell went out there. I think he decided that he'd been there long enough and he wasn't ready to do something new. So he retired. I only guaranteed Donnell for 1 year. So he retired. They got a new principal. The director that I had been working with left and went to the State Department. And I contacted the school and I was trying to help them, and they said, well, we've decided we're going to work with Central Alabama. We're not working with Lawson anymore. I said, okay. It's too long of a drive for me anyway, I mean, realistically. So I was doing it for the students. And so if they don't want to, you know. So now, from what I understand, they want to come back and work with Lawson because they're not getting what they want at Central Alabama, and now I'm just not interested in doing it. So, and I mean, I wouldn't mind going back and working with Shelby County, but it would be the same thing again. I would end up setting it up and doing all the work, and then they'd go with somebody else. So Bessemer City up here we've worked with quite a bit. Pinson Valley we're doing quite a bit with. McAdory we're doing a little with, but the problem is McAdory, they want to do this big huge thing. We go out and talk to them, and then we don't hear anything for 6 months. And then when somebody gets on them about doing something, then they want to come out and talk to us, and we go over there, we talk to them, and then nothing happens. So that's kind of been a back and forth with McAdory. But Bessemer City still has some technical programs themselves, so we worked some with Bessemer City to try to help out their programs.
We do have dual enrollment too. I don't know how many schools we have dual enrollment with. Where they can actually come out and bank college credit. They can actually come out and take college level classes, and they bank it. They don't actually get the credit until they graduate high school, and then when they graduate high school, they get that credit. We've had a couple in the robotics program, and I think you had some in drafting.
Yeah, we've had some in drafting, we've had some in GIS, some in industrial maintenance. So we've had some dual enrollment students, so we get some more high school students out probably that way than any other way. But the problem is, it really has to be a special student because they are in there with college students, and we don't modify that program. Where if they're taking it at a high school, they can take it, the same course that we teach, they can take it over a year. And so, you know,
The last one I had 4 students and had 2 pass.
yeah, and that unfortunately that's what happens. I had a group of them in Intro to Engineering, which is basically math and Ohm's Law. That really is not very difficult, but I had a student and his mother brought him back up here to register after he'd graduated from high school. And I said, man, you failed Intro. How did you fail Intro? You're going to have to take it over. I said, we were paying for it. Why didn't you just do it? And he said, I know, I just didn't do my homework. I said, he said, well, in high school, we don't really have to do it. They just give it to us. But if we don't do it, we can still pass.
That's the problem.
And I said, well, you're in college now. He said, I know that now.
That's the problem. Like when they get to us, they don't want to work.
They don't want to
Because
work.
there's no child left behind. They think it's going to be the same way in the workforce.
We don't have no child left
I know.
behind. These children get left behind here all the time.
Unfortunately,
I mean,
No adult left. You're going to get left behind.
that's right. Just because they might not leave children behind, but
Right.
adults get left behind all the time.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest problem we have is just attendance. I know y'all have big problems in finding these people just showing up for work. And they think they don't have to come to work, and then they expect you to pay them even if they're not there.
Yeah.
That's the way students will come and want me to do recommendations for them, and I'll say, okay, but let me explain to you. When somebody calls me, your recommendation will be, he works really great when he's here.
You said,
Do you want me to give that to an employer? Because that is your reference. I guess I'll find somebody else. Good idea.
I won't get on my soapbox.
yeah, I really, believe me, we
But-
know that just from what's going on here.
Hoyt was feeling real bad. I'm telling on you. First of the semester, he had an intro class and only half the class passed. Sometimes it happens. But it's because they wouldn't show up. And you know, if you only got 16 classes and you've missed 8 of them, chances are you're not going to pass. So,
It was what it was.
That's the major failure in my classes are students that don't come. They just don't come.
and you know, we don't do participation points. But you can't do a lab if you're not here.
Yeah.
So, I tell them that's your paycheck. If you don't show up, you don't get paid.
That's what I thought.
So,
I've got plenty of food over here, y'all.
yes, we do. But that basically,
Cheesecake.
we write grants when we need money, and we have very little in our other budgets, but we work through it. And I ain't gonna go into all the budgets. But
Y'all saw our ILT budget, y'all was gracious.
So the next meeting would be May.
yeah, when do we want to make the next meeting?
Last time we met in August. I mean,
Well, yeah, but last time we didn't have one in spring. I mean, in fall semester either. We had it in spring and summer. We probably ought to try to shoot for spring.
I was thinking about one of those last duty days we had in May, like
That may work.
May. See, when's graduation? The
Yeah,
9th?
because that way we'll be back from Germany and we can tell you all about our Germany trip and we can speak German for you, hopefully.
yeah.
take lots of pictures.
Yeah, well, I don't,
So,
if it's like our, level one training, you don't have enough time. They don't let you out till 5 or 6.
but we will have weekends.
Yeah, that's true. We'll
Graduation
have the
should be
weekend.
May 13th, right?
What now?
It's graduation 6th through the 13th.
I don't know.
I don't know, they probably already got that on there.
Yeah, it should be on the schedule,
Yeah,
on
let
the
me find
calendar.
the calendar.
I was thinking the academic calendar, though, not that calendar, but it may be on there.
What are we looking for?
May
May.
graduation. Should be the 6th and the 13th. Probably the
That's okay,
13th.
just
but
go
that'd be
button
good.
down below and do it. You don't have to scroll it up. It's gonna drop back down to the bottom, just do it from down there to get to May. March, April. Yeah, we should actually be, if everything works out well, we should be flying back on April 1st.
So.
Okay, it's the 13th.
So graduation's the 13th, so
we got
want to
faculty
shoot
on the
for
12th.
May.
It's faculty duty right here. That's after.
And we can either do that one or the one before it, and then the faculty duty day too, the 11th.
Yeah, the 11th might work. Because
That's Thursday.
grades are due the day before that.
Well,
Not too
let's shoot for the Friday,
That's fine.
Thursday or Friday of that week. Let's shoot for May 11th.
Yeah.
Thursday, okay. So we'll shoot for the 12th. Okay, any questions? Please eat some more food if you want it. Cheesecake's pretty good, isn't it?
It was awesome.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say the meeting's adjourned.
I move.
What time is it?
1:30.
1:30. Good job.
I sent him a text that we would be about 10 minutes late, so.
Where's the garbage?
Jim.
No, I ate more than I needed to.
Oh, they were
I ate a
wonderful
little
too.
piece of a cookie. It was wonderful too.
Oh, yeah, it is, thank you. That was from my note, sorry.
That's okay.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you, Shelley.
Thank you.
Thank you, Grady. Marty, thank you.
Get that internship going. Yeah, we definitely interested.
Y'all be interested in putting in a few?
Participate.
Okay.
So we think there's
We don't know, we hadn't figured that out. What we're considering is letting the students file financial aid and anything they can get, and then letting the company just supplement them, but it would be a paid internship. So they would supposedly be using their money that they get paid to pay their school.
We'll go around down here.
So,
Yeah.